She said, deal with it. I said, okay. Cheating witch.
It's been exactly 3 weeks since Thanksgiving, and honestly, I'm still processing how spectacularly everything blew up in ways I never could have imagined. My friends keep asking me if I regret how I handled it, and the answer is absolutely, completely not. Not even a little bit. Let me tell you the whole thing from the very beginning because this entire situation is absolutely wild and unbelievable. I'm 30 years old and I had been in a committed relationship with my girlfriend Victoria for 2.5 years. She's 28 years old and I genuinely thought we were heading toward a long-term future together, maybe even marriage eventually. My parents absolutely loved her. They'd been calling her their future daughter-in-law for months on end. My mother actually made me promise specifically that I would bring Victoria to Thanksgiving this year because she wanted to spend more time with her and include her in our family traditions. I had every intention of keeping that promise to my mother. Then Monday rolled around 5 days before Thanksgiving, and everything changed in a single text message. I was sitting at work, doing my regular job duties, when my phone buzzed. It was Victoria, and the message would completely alter the trajectory of my entire life. The message read exactly this. Hey, babe. Marcus is having such a rough time right now. His family basically disowned him after that whole situation with his stepmom. It's complicated, but long story short, he literally has nowhere to go for Thanksgiving. He's going to be completely alone, and I can't leave him like that. I already told him he could come with us to your parents' place. I know it's awkward and uncomfortable, but I seriously can't leave him alone. We're adults. We can definitely handle this. Deal with it. Marcus. That's her ex-boyfriend. They dated for 4 years before breaking up, and she stayed close friends with him because she claimed they ended things on perfectly good terms and shared a friend group together. I knew that once they'd been texting a lot more frequently lately, and I'd noticed he was going through his own struggles with depression, and his general life situation had been falling apart. But here's the thing that really bothered me and made me suspicious. All of this drama with Marcus seemed to intensify and get worse the moment Victoria and I became serious about our relationship. Coincidence? I don't think so, and I still don't. I read that text about 15 times, maybe 20 times. I could feel my face getting hot and my heart rate increasing. My hands were actually trembling a little as I stared at the screen. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. I just stared at my phone screen for what felt like forever, trying to process what I was reading. The audacity, the disrespect, the complete lack of consideration for my feelings. Then I typed back a response. I'll let them know. She sent back a bunch of heart emojis and said something like, "You're the best. I knew you'd understand and be cool about this." But here's where I made a decision that changed everything about my life moving forward. I didn't tell my family that Victoria was bringing Marcus to Thanksgiving. Instead, I told them something completely different. I texted my mom and said that an emergency had come up at work, a critical server migration that absolutely had to happen during the Thanksgiving weekend. I explained that I couldn't possibly make it to the family dinner because of this work emergency, but that Victoria might still show up if she wanted to. My mom was obviously disappointed to hear this news, but she was understanding about it because she knows how important my career is to me. She texted back saying that Victoria was absolutely still welcome to come and that they'd already picked up her favorite wine from the store. After I sent that text to my mom, I did something I'd been fantasizing about doing for several months. I opened my laptop, pulled up a travel website, and started browsing options. I booked a 5-day trip to Cancun, Mexico without hesitation. I would leave Wednesday evening and wouldn't return until late Sunday night, giving me a long weekend on a beautiful beach. Here's the part that probably makes me sound petty, and I'll completely admit it. I used the money I'd been saving up for Victoria's Christmas present. She'd been dropping hints about wanting this designer handbag for weeks and weeks, and I was planning on getting it for her as my big Christmas gift. Instead, I used those carefully saved savings for my Cancun escape. But wait, there's more to this story. I also turned off my read receipts on my phone. I wanted her messages to come through so I could see what was happening. But I didn't want her to know that I was reading them and just choosing not to respond. It was petty, but it was also strategic. Over the next few days, I watched the messages pile up on my phone while I was enjoying myself in Mexico. Tuesday afternoon. What should Marcus wear to meet your family? Should it be casual or dressed up? Wednesday morning. I'm picking up the pies from the bakery now. They're going to be delicious. Wednesday afternoon. Marcus is actually pretty excited to meet your family, by the way. He's nervous, but excited. Wednesday evening. Why aren't you answering my calls? We're leaving in like 2 hours. Your phone must be dead or something. And then Thursday at 2 p.m. Your phone must definitely be dead. See you when we get there, I guess. Drive safe whenever you get this message. I didn't respond to any of it. I was too busy enjoying margaritas and the ocean breeze. When I got back to my apartment in Cancun that night and plugged my phone in to charge it, I was absolutely stunned to see that I had 73 unread messages waiting for me to read. Victoria had sent dozens of them. My mom had texted multiple times. My sister had messaged me, and there were various other notifications from different people. Reading through all of them while I was sitting on a beach lounger with a cold margarita in my hand was honestly one of the most satisfying experiences of my entire life. I know that sounds cold and heartless, but just wait until you hear what happened. The first messages started coming through Thursday afternoon, and Victoria was clearly spiraling and panicking. Where the hell are you? Your mom says you're not coming. She said you told her you have to work. You didn't tell me any of this. I'm here with Marcus. I'm alone. This is so embarrassing right now. Your dad asked Marcus if he's my boyfriend. Your sister is absolutely giving me this death stare that could homicide someone. Answer your phone, please, right now. Then the tone shifted to panic mode and desperation. Your mom wants to know why I didn't tell her you weren't coming. I had to explain the situation. You knew I was coming. Now she's asking me why Marcus is here. I told them that you said it was okay for him to come. Your mom is on the phone calling you. Your dad looks absolutely furious with me. Marcus wants to leave because this is so uncomfortable. This is all your fault. My sister Nicole texted me later on and gave me the full play-by-play of what actually went down at my parents' house. According to her detailed account, Victoria showed up at 1 p.m. sharp, and Marcus was with her. They were both smiling and carrying the pies she'd baked. My mom opened the door, expecting to see just Victoria arriving. "Oh my, who is this?" my mom asked pleasantly. "This is Marcus. He's my ex. Well, I mean, he's my friend. Marcus, this is Tom's mom. Tom said it was okay for me to bring you," Victoria explained, her voice sounding uncertain. According to my sister Nicole, my mom's face went through like 5 or 6 different stages of confusion and realization all at once. My mom said, "Oh, sweetheart, Tom's not coming. He told me on Monday that he has to work. It's some kind of emergency at his company. Didn't he tell you?" And apparently the color just completely drained out of Victoria's face instantly. She tried to recover and play it off, saying that she must have just forgotten about the work emergency because he'd mentioned it in passing. But she'd already told my mom that I knew she was coming and that I had approved of her bringing Marcus. The math wasn't adding up at all, and my mom could clearly sense that something was seriously off about the story. My parents, being the fundamentally polite and kind people that they are, still invited both Victoria and Marcus inside the house despite the awkwardness. But according to Nicole's account, dinner was incredibly awkward and tense throughout. My dad actually took this opportunity to grill Marcus, and I mean that both literally and figuratively. He put Marcus to work at the barbecue and peppered him with questions the entire time they were grilling the turkey and side dishes. He asked Marcus about his current job, which prompted the answer that Marcus is unemployed and hasn't been working. He asked about his living situation, and Marcus admitted he's been couch surfing and doesn't have a permanent place to stay. He asked how long Marcus and Victoria had dated, and Marcus said 4 years, quite a significant amount of time. Then my dad asked why they broke up and what ended the relationship. Marcus's response was that he cheated on Victoria. This was apparently news to my family, as Victoria had never mentioned that particular and very relevant detail to them before bringing him to Thanksgiving. My Aunt Caroline, who has absolutely zero filter once she's had a couple glasses of wine, decided to ask Victoria a very direct question in front of everyone at the dinner table. "So, let me make sure I understand this correctly. You brought your ex-boyfriend to meet your current boyfriend's family for the holidays, except your current boyfriend isn't even here. That's quite an interesting choice, wouldn't you say?" Meanwhile, Marcus tried to make small talk about football. This was completely pointless and fell flat because nobody in my entire family follows football or watches it regularly. We're a hockey family through and through. He ended up eating 3 full plates of food at dinner. And I mean 3 completely full plates loaded with turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, and everything else. Before he left the house, he also asked if he could take some leftovers home. And my family sent him off with multiple plastic containers of food, probably feeling bad for him. Another annoying detail that my sister mentioned: he kept calling my mom Mrs. F, and she absolutely hates that. She prefers to be called by her first name or mom, but definitely not Mrs. F. He did this repeatedly throughout the dinner, and my mom had to correct him multiple times. Throughout the entire dinner, Victoria kept checking her phone every few minutes, looking increasingly anxious and upset. She kept making excuses about how I was probably just swamped with work and would probably show up later if I could get away. She looked like she was on the verge of tears the entire time she was there. After about 2 hours of this uncomfortable situation, they finally left. That same night, my mom sent me a text that said, "We need to talk about Victoria. Call me as soon as you get this message. This is important." Sunday night rolled around, and I got back to my apartment in the city. I didn't tell Victoria that I was back or let her know that I was home. The first thing I did was go on Instagram and posted a single picture from my hotel. It was a gorgeous sunset photo taken from my balcony with the ocean in the background and the sky painted in oranges and purples. I captioned it, "Sometimes you really need to step back from everything to see things clearly." Victoria saw that post within literally 2 minutes, maybe 3. The phone calls started coming through immediately, one after another. I let them all go to voicemail while I was unpacking my suitcase and putting my clothes away into my drawers and closet. Finally, on the 5th call, I decided to answer it and face the music. "Where the hell were you?" She absolutely screamed at me through the phone, her voice full of rage and disbelief. I calmly responded, "I was in Cancun. Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?" She fired back, "Are you being serious right now? You left me alone with Marcus at your family's house." I explained, "I told my family I wouldn't be there." That's what I communicated to them. She insisted, "That's not what you said to me. You told me you'd tell them about Marcus." I corrected her firmly. "No, you told me Marcus was coming and you told me to deal with it. Those were your exact words. So I dealt with it by not being there and removing myself from a situation you created without my consent." "You humiliated me in front of your entire family," she said, her voice breaking with emotion. I told her, "No, you humiliated yourself by bringing your ex to my family's Thanksgiving dinner without actually asking for my permission or having a conversation about it first. I just wasn't there to see it happen in real time." She tried a different angle. "I told you Marcus had nowhere else to go." I responded firmly, "That's not my problem. It wasn't my problem until you decided to make it my problem by volunteering my family and my family's holiday without consulting me or asking my opinion." She accused me of being immature, saying, "You're such a child. You're just running away instead of dealing with things like an actual adult would." I pushed back hard on that one. Adults don't ambush their partners with their ex-boyfriends. Adults have conversations with their partners first. Adults respect boundaries. Adults don't unilaterally make decisions that affect other people's lives. She got quiet for a moment and then asked, "Your mom thinks I'm trash now?" I told her the truth. "What did you expect to happen? You showed up with your ex instead of me. How did you think that would go?" She said, "Marcus was mortified by the whole thing." I responded, "Good, you're an a-hole." She said back, "Maybe I am. But I'm an a-hole who had an absolutely incredible Thanksgiving on the beach in Mexico, getting a tan and relaxing and enjoying myself instead of sitting around your family's dinner table watching my girlfriend's ex-boyfriend eat my mom's turkey and stuffing." Then she hung up on me without saying goodbye. Monday morning came, and Victoria showed up at my apartment building unannounced. I was in the middle of getting ready for work when I heard her outside. She had a key to my place, but I'd been smart enough to put the security chain on the inside of the door, so she couldn't open it all the way, even with her key. Through the crack in the door, she demanded, "Let me in right now. We need to talk about this." I told her, "We can talk from right here. This is fine, I'm listening." She insisted, "Tom, stop being ridiculous. This is serious. You literally told me your ex was coming to my family's Thanksgiving, and you told me to deal with it. I was just trying to be a good friend to Marcus." I asked her the question that was really bothering me. "What about being a good girlfriend to me? You literally abandoned me. You replaced me with your ex at my own family's dinner table." Victoria started crying through the door. She said, "You don't understand what Marcus is going through. He's been through so much. His stepmom accused him of stealing from them. His father took her side. He literally has nothing and nobody." I just told her, "That's still not my problem or my family's problem to deal with." She said I was heartless and cruel. I corrected her, "No, I have boundaries. Let me tell you what your family thinks about all this now. Your family probably hates me now and thinks I'm an idiot. My mom called you that tacky girl who brought her ex to Thanksgiving. My dad said you have no class. My sister Nicole thinks you're either cheating on me with Marcus or you're stupid or possibly both." More tears streaming down her face. How could you do this to me? She asked through her sobs. I told her clearly, you did this to yourself. You made a unilateral decision about my family's holiday without consulting me or asking my opinion. You told me to deal with it, like I'm some kind of doormat that you can just walk all over. So I dealt with it my own way by removing myself from the situation you created. She tried a completely different approach. Look, I'm genuinely sorry, okay? I really should have asked you before inviting Marcus, but what you did was even worse. You humiliated me in front of your entire family. I told her no. You humiliated yourself by showing up with your ex-boyfriend. I just wasn't there to witness it in real time. If anything, my absence made it even worse for you, which is kind of the entire point. And then she said something that made everything crystal clear to me about how she viewed our relationship. I thought you'd understand. You're usually so easygoing. That was it. That was the moment I realized she'd been taking advantage of my laid-back personality this entire time. She thought I was a pushover that she could manipulate and control. I told her straight up, there's a difference between being easygoing and being a doormat, Victoria. And I've come to realize that you've been making decisions for both of us for months now. You decide where we eat and what restaurants we go to. You decide which friends we hang out with and how often. You decide what we do on the weekends and how we spend our time together. And I've gone along with it because I wanted to make you happy and keep the peace. But volunteering my family's Thanksgiving dinner for your ex-boyfriend? That's where I draw the line in the sand. That's the boundary I can't cross. She asked if I was really breaking up with her over this situation. I told her clearly, I'm breaking up with you because you don't respect me. The Thanksgiving incident just made that crystal clear. It was the final straw that showed me who you really are and how you really see me. She started crying again and said, but I love you. I told her the hard truth. No, you love having me around. You love having a boyfriend who's easygoing and agreeable and will do whatever you want. There's a big difference between loving someone as a person and loving what they provide for you. After that conversation on Monday, I thought things might finally start to calm down and settle into a normal breakup situation. I was so incredibly wrong. Everything escalated dramatically over the next several days. Thursday night, Victoria's best friend Claire called me out of the blue. She said, you need to take Victoria back. She's a complete mess. She hasn't eaten in days. She's devastated. I pointed out, I literally saw Victoria eating a sandwich yesterday at her workplace. She was eating lunch. Claire insisted that wasn't true, and that Victoria was absolutely devastated and heartbroken. I asked her directly, if your boyfriend brought his ex-girlfriend to your family's Thanksgiving dinner without asking for permission first, would you just be fine with it? Would you not be upset? Claire couldn't answer that question and just hung up on me abruptly. Friday morning, I woke up to a bunch of notifications. Victoria had tagged me in about 20 old photos from our relationship, spanning different years on Instagram. The captions were things like, remember when we were happy together? And before your massive ego ruined everything? And guess your family means more than our love ever did? And when I thought we were going to last forever? I untagged myself from all of them, and then blocked her on Instagram completely so I wouldn't have to see any more of this nonsense. But that wasn't even the worst part of what happened on Friday. On Friday afternoon, Victoria actually called my workplace and spoke to someone in the HR department. She told them that she was concerned about my mental health and well-being. She claimed that I'd disappeared for 5 days without telling anyone where I was going, and that I was acting erratically and out of character. The HR department called me into an office on Friday afternoon and asked if I was okay mentally and emotionally. I showed them my pre-approved PTO request that I'd submitted weeks in advance for the Thanksgiving holiday. I showed them all the text messages where Victoria demanded that I accept her ex coming to Thanksgiving. I showed them the screenshots of her social media posts and the things she was saying about me online. I showed them the text where she told me to deal with it. The HR lady just looked absolutely exhausted and defeated. She asked me, is this just a really bad breakup? I told her yes, it was extremely bad. She said they'd make a note in my file and that if Victoria called again, they would consider it maltreatment and would handle it appropriately. She thanked me for being transparent and honest about the situation. But Victoria wasn't done with her campaign to manipulate me and turn people against me. Saturday afternoon, she showed up at my parents' house with Marcus. My mom called me immediately and said, that girl is at my door with that boy again. What do you want me to do about this? I told her, don't let them in, don't open the door. My mom put me on speakerphone so I could listen to the entire conversation as it unfolded. Victoria said, Mrs. F, I wanted to apologize to you in person and explain everything that happened with the Thanksgiving situation. My mom responded, There's nothing to explain. Please leave my property. Victoria tried again. We just want to make things right and clear the air. My mom said firmly, Get off my porch right now before I call the police department. Victoria insisted, This is all just a big misunderstanding. Tom overreacted to everything. That's when my dad came outside onto the porch. He said to Victoria, You want to know what I think? I think you're still hung up on this loser, and you used our family holiday as a way to test the waters and see if the three of you could work things out. My son saw right through your game. Marcus objected, saying, Hey, I'm not a loser. My dad looked him in the eye and said, Son, you're 28 years old, you don't have a job, you don't have a place to live, and you're literally following your ex-girlfriend to her current boyfriend's family events. You are the literal definition of a loser. Victoria started crying and said, You don't understand. Marcus and I were meant to be together. My mom shut that down immediately. Were you meant to be together when you brought him to my house for Thanksgiving? Because that's not how relationships work, sweetheart. If you love someone, you don't lie to them and ambush them with their ex-partner. My dad actually did call the police like he threatened to do. The officers came out to the house in about 10 minutes and didn't arrest anyone, but they gave Victoria and Marcus a very clear warning. If they showed up at my parents' property again, they would be arrested for trespassing and could face charges. It's been 3 weeks now, and I'm finally getting some distance and perspective on everything. Here's where everyone ended up. Victoria sent me one final email to my personal email account. It was an absolutely massive manifesto about how I ruined her reputation and turned everyone against her and chose my family over our love. She demanded that I reimburse her for the Thanksgiving pies she brought to my parents' house, $60, the gas money to drive to my parents' house, and some vague amount for the emotional distress she claimed I caused her. I responded by sending her a Venmo request for $90, the exact sales commission I'd lost by taking PTO for my Cancun trip, instead of working and earning commission. She blocked me on Venmo immediately after seeing it. Victoria also tried to get our mutual friends to take her side and support her. She organized a whole dinner party and told her version of the events to everyone. According to what I heard through the grapevine, it completely backfired on her. Our friend Jennifer asked, Wait, so you brought Marcus without asking Tom first? When Victoria tried to explain the whole compassion angle and how the holidays bring people together and how she was just being a good friend, Jennifer just said, Girl, that's insane. I honestly would have dumped you too. From what I've heard, about half of our friend group sided with me and thought I handled it perfectly. About a quarter stayed completely neutral and didn't take sides. And only Claire really took Victoria's side completely. Even Claire admitted privately to mutual friends that bringing Marcus probably wasn't the smartest move and that she could see why I was upset. Marcus decided to insert himself into the situation by sending me a direct message on Instagram. His message said, Bro, what you did was seriously messed up. Victoria was just trying to help me out, and you made the whole situation weird and uncomfortable. Grow up. I responded with, The unemployed guy who mooched 3 plates of food for my family is telling me to grow up? You spent Thanksgiving eating food that was purchased by complete strangers because even your own family won't deal with you. Maybe focus on getting your life together instead of texting your ex-girlfriend's boyfriend. He blocked me after that. Good riddance. Victoria started dating Marcus again exactly 2 weeks after we broke up. Or, honestly, I suspect they never actually broke up during our relationship and were probably seeing each other the whole time. I don't know, and I really don't care anymore. Claire accidentally let it slip that Marcus has been living with Victoria in her studio apartment. And here's the ironic part. That's the same studio apartment she used to constantly complain about, saying it was way too small for even one person to live comfortably. Now she's got her ex living there full-time with her. My family basically became legendary after all of this happened. My cousin posted about it on Twitter with the full story, and it got 50,000 likes and went kind of viral within our social circle and beyond. My mom literally framed the security camera footage from my parents' front door of my dad telling Marcus that he's a loser. My sister Nicole changed her Wi-Fi password to Marcus is not invited as a joke. Everyone who visits her house and needs the Wi-Fi password gets a good laugh out of it. This past Christmas, my parents sent me a text asking if it was going to just be family this year. My mom also added a note saying that if I wanted to bring someone who's actually appropriate and respectful, that would be totally fine and they'd be happy to meet her. As for me, I'm doing fantastic. That 5-day trip to Cancun really did clear my head like I hoped it would when I booked it. I realized that I'd been accepting way too much nonsense and disrespect in the name of keeping the peace and making other people happy. Victoria thinking she could just dictate terms about my family's holiday and my life was the final straw. It made me see clearly that I needed to develop much stronger boundaries and stop being such a chronic people pleaser. I started dating someone new in early January. Her name is Diana. I met her at the gym where I've been working out regularly. When I told her the whole Thanksgiving story, she laughed so hard she nearly fell off the treadmill we were using. Then she said, "Wait, she actually brought him to your family's dinner without asking you? That's honestly sociopathic behavior." I asked her what she would have done in that situation. She told me, "Honestly, the exact same thing as you, except I would have gone to Europe instead of Cancun. Cancun's too close to home." I think Diana is a keeper. We've been seeing each other for a couple of months now, and she's refreshingly respectful, honest, and direct. Here's the final piece of this whole saga. I got a notification on LinkedIn last week. Marcus viewed my profile, then about an hour later he viewed it again for a second time. Then Victoria viewed my profile. They're literally checking up on me and monitoring what I'm doing. So I decided to have a little fun with it. I updated my job title to Senior Systems Analyst, thankful for boundaries, just to send them a message. It felt pretty good. Looking back on everything, the whole situation was actually a gift to me. Victoria showed me exactly who she really is as a person. She's someone who believes that her wants and desires matter more than my needs, my family's feelings, or basic respect and boundaries. The fact that she brought her ex to my family's Thanksgiving wasn't really the relationship ender. What eliminated the relationship was those 3 words: deal with it. Those 3 simple words told me everything I needed to know about how she saw me and how she valued our relationship. She saw me as someone who existed to accommodate her needs, not as an equal partner. If anyone reading this is in a similar situation, take my advice. When someone shows you they don't respect you, believe them. Don't argue with them, don't try to negotiate with them, and definitely don't try to fix them or change their behavior. Just protect yourself and let them face the natural consequences of their own choices. Victoria wanted me to deal with it, so I did, just not in the way she expected or hoped. Marcus had nowhere to go for Thanksgiving, and now he and Victoria can spend every single Thanksgiving together forever in that tiny studio apartment eating takeout food because Marcus can't cook and Victoria literally burns water. She once ruined pasta by burning the water. That's what I'd call a happy ending for everyone involved. They got what they wanted, and I got my peace and my boundaries back. Postscript. My mom still refers to Victoria as that tacky girl with the ex-boyfriend whenever the story comes up in conversation. My dad calls Marcus leftover boy because he took 3 entire containers of leftover food home from Thanksgiving dinner. My sister Nicole suggested we make it an annual family tradition to raise a glass and toast to boundaries at Thanksgiving dinner. We actually did it this year. We all sat around the table, raised our glasses, and toasted to respect, boundaries, and knowing your worth. Even my 80-year-old grandmother raised her glass and said, "That girl had some balls, but our boy has bigger ones." I absolutely love my family. They stood by me through all of it, and I'm grateful for that every single day.